Good morning, students. Today we are going to start from the book Alien Hand. This is story 8 written by Axel Munthe, the bear story. So it is a typical type of story which involves bear as a pet, which we are quite not accustomed with. We don't see bear as a pet too much. So this is a strange type of thing where a lady is going to pet a bear, which happens quite often with the rich households. So let's read it. So a lady in the manor house had a pet bear as pet. It was the most friendly bear who loved vegetables, apples and honey. He roamed freely during the day but was put on chain at night because bear is a wild animal. So if you are petting a wild animal, then the wild characteristics of the animal will also evolve gradually. So there was once a lady who lived in an old manor house on the border of a big forest. This lady had a pet bear she was very fond of. It had been found in the forest, half dead of hunger, so small and helpless that it had to be brought up on the bottle by the lady and the old cook. This was several years ago, and now it had grown up to a big bear, so big and strong that he could have slain a cow and carried it away between its two paws if it had wanted to, but he did not want to. He was the most amiable bear who did not dream of harming anybody, man or beast. He used to sit outside his kennel and look with his small intelligent eyes the most amicably at the cattle grazing in the field nearby. So manor house means a kind of large house with huge amount of land along the houses. So consider just to be like a landlord's houses in the border of a big forest. And there the lady of the manor house, means the owner of the house, actually found this bear, pet bear. Okay, he was half dead once, and it was so helpless that the cook and the old lady brought it to its home and started to pet it. And gradually the bear grew up in this household, and that was several years, and it had grown up to a big bear. Now it has grown so strong that it could easily kill a cow if he wanted to. But he was the most sociable bear, and he actually don't harm anybody. So what he used to do, anybody, means man or beast. So he used to sit outside his kennel and look with his small intelligent eyes the most amicably at the cattle gazing in the field nearby. So he just look, he didn't have the idea at all. So the three shaggy mountain ponies in the stable knew him well and did not mind the least when he shuffled into the stable with his mistress. The children used to ride on his back and had more than once found asleep in his kennel between his two paws. Such was like a family like of thing. Okay, the mountain ponies in the stable knew him well, did not mind, and the children used to ride his back. So the three dogs loved to play all sort of games with him, pull his ears and stamp off a tail and tease him in every way. So the three dogs used to disturb him, but he did not mind in the least, because he was a part of the family. He had never tasted meat. He was never given actually. He ate the same food as a dog and often out of same plate even with the dogs. Bread, porridge, potato, cabbage, turnip. He had a fine appetite, and his friend the cook saw to it that he got his fill. So he had a very fine appetite, and his friend the cook saw that he got his fill. So the bears are vegetarians if they have a chance, and the fruit is what they like the best. So bears are actually vegetarian and they like the fruit the most. In the autumn he used to sit and look with his wistful eyes at the ripening apples in the orchard. So he used to dream of the apples, and he wished that some apples might be with me. And in his young days he had been sometimes unable to resist the temptation to climb the tree and help himself to a handful of them. So when he was a small bear, he used to go climb up the tree and took apples from the tree. Bears look clumsy and now slow in their movement, but try a bear with an apple tree and you will soon find out that he can easily be beat any schoolboy at a game. Now he had learned that it was against the law, but he kept his small eyes wide open for any apple that fell to the ground. There had also been some difficulties about the beehives. He had been punished for this by putting on chain for 2 days with a bleeding nose, and he had never done it again. Otherwise he was never put on chain except for the night, and quite rightly so, for a bear like a dog it is apt to get somehow ill-tempered if kept on the chain, and no wonder. So the bear was never put on chain actually, but once he was never put on chain, so except for the night, because It was at night the bear somehow might get ill-tempered. Okay, but the bear was lustful for the beehives and honey. Okay, and once and two he has been punished by putting on chain because he was eating honey. Rest he was not chained at all, but he was chained actually. So he was also put on chain on Sundays when his mistress went to spend the afternoon with her married sister. So the mistress of the house used to visit his married sister, okay, who lived in a solitary house on the other side of the mountain lake. So it was a large house, and on the other side of the mountain lake there his sister used to live, who is married, and it was a good hour's walk through the dense forest. So it was not supposed to be good for him to wander about in the forest with all his temptation. It was better to be on the safe side. So he had also bad sailor. So it's better that it's not to go with the forest along with the bear, because the bear might get tempted with all sorts of things. He might meet another bear. Okay, so it's better that's why the lady did not took him. So he was also a bad sailor, means he did not sail quite very well, because bad sailor, and had once taken such a fright at sudden gust of wind that he upset the boat and he and his mistress had to swim the shore. So once he upset the entire boat because of a gust of wind, he was so fearful, and that's why his mistress and he had to swim the shore. So now he knew quite well that what it meant when his mistress put him on chain on Sundays with a friendly tap on his head and a promise of an apple on her return if he had been good during her absence. So if the bear behaves very good, the lady will give him an apple and the lady will go out of the house. He was sorry, but resigned like a good dog when his mistress tells him that he cannot come out for a walk. So when the mistress tells him for he cannot come for a walk, he agrees to the mistress, what his mistress says always. One Sunday when the lady had chained him up as usual and was halfway through the forest, she suddenly So one Sunday when the lady had chained him up as usual and was about halfway through the forest, she suddenly thought she was heard the cracking of a tree branch on the winding footpath behind her. So one day it happened that while she was in the forest, suddenly a tree branch was cracking, which means that somebody is approaching. She looked back and was horrified to see the bear coming along with full speed. So she was horrified because the bear was coming along. Now, was it this bear or was it some other bear? That she doesn't know. So bears look as if they were moving quite slowly, but they shuffle along much faster. But they yes. Bears look as if they move quite slowly, but they shuffle along much faster than trotting house. In a minute he had joined her, panting and sniffing, to take up his usually placed dog fashion at her heel. So within a minute the bear came nearer to her heels like a dog, and the lady was very angry because she thought the chained bear was that. It was her bear, she just thought, and the lady was very angry. She was already late for lunch. There was no time to take him back home. She did not want him to come with her, and besides it was very naughty of him to have disobeyed her. She told him in a severest voice to go back at once, menacing with her parasol. So she hurt her with her umbrella and severely told to go away. And he stopped at the moment, looking her with a cunning eye. So the bear stopped. Actually, this was not the bear, the pet bear. It was some wild bear who came to attack the lady. But the lady was so defiant in her attitude. She was thinking that it was her bear, that her attitude made the bear fearful. The wild bear. So when the lady saw that he had even lost his new so he stopped at a moment and looked at her with cunning eyes, but he did not want to go back and kept sniffing at her. The bear went on sniffing at her. He is not going back, means the bear is going to devour the lady. And this was a dreadful situation, but the lady was not aware of that. Lady was not frightened at all. So when the lady saw that he had even lost his new collar, she got still more angry and hit him with the nose with her parasol so hard that it broke into two. So she hit the bear in his nose with the umbrella. That umbrella broke into two, and he stopped again. So the bear again stopped being hit, shook his head and opened his big mouth several times as if wanted to say something. So the bear was perhaps wanting to say something with his mouth open, but the lady already hit him. Then he turned around and began to shuffle back the way he had come, stopping now and then to look at the lady. Till the last so she lost sight at him. So the bear was still looking at him, going through that way. And the lady was too angry, because the lady was thinking that it was her bear. In her mind it was that, but it was a wild bear who was hit. And the wild bear didn't realize that he was going to be hit by a lady suddenly whom he wanted to eat. So the wild bear thought, this lady must be much stronger than me. So when the lady came back home in the evening, the bear was sitting in his usual place outside his kennel, looking very sorry for himself. The bear was as well sitting actually. It was not sorry, but he was sitting. So the lady was still very angry. She went up to him and began to scold him the most severely and said that he would have chained him for more 2 days. The old cook, who had loved his bear and had been her son, rushed out from the kitchen very angrily. So the old cook, who loved the bear so much that he was like a son, rushed out. What has happened? Okay. So what are you scolding him for, missus? She said, the cook. He has been sitting here quite still on his haunches, as meek as an angel, looking the whole time towards the gate for you to come back. So why are you scolding back? The cook revealed the truth. The bear was there forever, whole day. Bless him. Why are you hitting? He was still on his haunches, as meek and as angel. He was looking for you the whole time, for you to come back, but you were not coming back. So why are you scolding him? And then the lady realized that I have been under some wild bear. So there are wild bear in the forest, and it is not safe for a single lady to go alone to meet her sister. She could have taken somebody else. So that is the thing. So this is the bear story. The bear story is actually not about the pet bear, but how the lady imagined the wild bear to be the pet bear and how the lady attacked. So the lady didn't recognize her bear quite well, this shows. But her own pet bear was as good as an angel actually. So this is the bear story. This is how you become pet. So you must recognize the animals. And if you are a pet, if you are a true pet, then the true pet will recognize. But actually it seems that the cook only took care of the bear. So if the cook had been gone along, perhaps the wild bear, the cook could have recognized whether it is a wild bear or it is his own bear. But since the missus doesn't take too much care, perhaps the lady didn't really recognize the bear to be its own bear. So this is the bear story. Now let's come to the question answers. So this is the summary. Okay, first the bear story summary, then comes the question answers and the extra questions. So once there lived a lady on the border of a big forest. She found a bear cub in the forest. It was starving. It was quite helpless. The lady had to bring it up on the bottle. The cook helped her. After many years it grew up to a big bear and a strong bear. However, he was the most amiable bear. He harmed neither of the men nor the beast. There were 3 mountain ponies in the stable. Even these ponies did not feel frightened when he walked into the stable. He also looked amicably at the cattle. The children used to ride on his back. They had also been found asleep in the kennel between his 2 paws. The 3 dogs loved him to play with him. They pulled his ears and teased him in every way. He did not mind it at all. The bear ate the same food as the dogs. He ate bread, porridge, potatoes, cabbages and turnips. He had a good appetite. He used to see with wistful eyes at the apples in the orchard. He was not allowed to climb the tree and eat them. He had also been taught not to touch the beehive. He was once put on chain for 2 days when he had touched the beehives. Otherwise he was chained only at night. Like a dog, a bear also does not like to be chained. The lady visited her sister every Sunday. Her sister lived on the other side of the mountain lake. It was not safe to go with the bear along through the forest. So on the Sundays, the bear was on the chain whole afternoon. One Sunday, while walking through the dense forest, she found the bear following her. The lady was very angry. There was no time to take him back home. She did not want even to come with her. She told him in her hardest to go back. She threatened him with her parasol, means umbrella. The bear did not seem to want her to obey her. The lady saw that the bear even lost his new collar. She hit the bear with her parasol so hard that it broke into two. The bear stopped and opened his mouth several times as if wanting to say something. Then he turned around and went back. However, he stopped now and looked back at the lady. At last, she lost sight of him. The lady came back home in the evening. She found her bear looking very sorry for himself. It was so because he had been sitting there for the whole day, sitting in the same position. He had been waiting for the lady. But the lady was still very angry. She began to scold the bear. She said that he would be chained for 2 more days as punishment. The old cook heard the lady and rushed out of the kitchen. She loved the bear as her own son. She asked the lady to bless him instead of scolding him. The bear, she said, had been sitting there all day as meek as an angel. It was then the lady realized that she met another bear in the forest. So what meanings and phrases are? The first phrase is manor house, means a large country house with lands. Amiable means displaying a friendly or pleasant manner. Slain means to kill violently. Amicably means characterized by friendly goodwill. Shaggy mountain ponies. This phrase means long-haired mountain horses. Shuffle means to mix in a mass confusedly. Wistful means full of yearning or desire tinged with melancholy. Gust means a sudden breeze or rush of wind. Parasol means umbrella. Menacing means constituting a threat. Panting means to breathe quickly. Meek means not violent. So in page number 57, the exercises answer the following question. So where did the lady find the bear cub? How did she bring it up? This is question number 1, and the answer is the lady found the bear cub in the forest near her house. She fed him with a bottle of milk. Her cook helped her in this task. Question number 2 is the bear grew up, but he was most amiable bear. Give 3 examples to prove this. So the bear was friendly. The bear was friendly. Bear was harmless. He watched amicably at the cattle grazing in the field. The children used to ride his back safely. The 3 dogs loved to play all sorts of games with him, to pull his ears and his stump and a tail and tease him in every way. Question number 3 is, what did the bear eat? There were 2 things he was not allowed to. What were they? So the bear ate the same food as the dog. He was given bread, porridge, potatoes, cabbages and turnips. He was a vegetarian. He liked the apple most. He was not allowed to pluck apples from the tree and attack the beehive. So question number 4 is, when was the bear tied up with a chain? Why? So the bear was usually tied up with a chain only at night, and on Sundays the lady visited her sister for lunch. On Sundays when the lady visited her sister for lunch. Question number 5 is, what happened one Sunday when the lady was going to her sister's house? What did the lady do? What was the bear's reaction? So one Sunday while the lady was on her way to sister's house, she heard the cracking of the branches behind her. She saw the bear following her. She punished him by hitting him on the nose with her umbrella. The bear turned around and went back. So question number 6 is, why was the bear looking sorry for himself in the evening? Why did the cook get angry with her mistress? So the bear looked sad when the lady came back home in the evening. The poor creature had been in chains all days. He was kept waiting for the mistress to come and set him free. So the mistress scolded the bear for following her in the forest. The cook got angry. She told her mistress that the bear had been sitting gently all day and he didn't to be treated harshly anymore. So discuss the following topic in group. Most people keep cats and dogs as pets. Can you think of some unusual pets that people keep? So the second, number 2 is, the second bear did not attack the lady because he was afraid of her. Do you agree? So the answers are, the usual pets the people often keep were wolves, bears and tigers, snakes, even crocodiles. Question number 2 is, the lady while crossing found a raw bear. It seemed he was taken aback to see the self-confidence of the lady. His fearless behavior frightened him. So some extra questions also there, like short answer type question. Question number 1 is, Yes. In what ways did the bear become the lady's pet animal? So the lady gave milk to the half-dead bear and brought him up. The bear was friendly towards the dogs, children and other cattle grazing in the field. In this way he became the lady's pet animal. Question number 2 is, how did the bear grow up a vegetarian? So the bear cub was brought up on milk bottle. He was kept on bread, vegetables and fruit. He never tasted meat, so he grew up a vegetarian. Question number 3 is, why did the bear climb up the tree and ate the apples? Answer is, the bear was fond of apples. He saw the apple trees in the orchard. He could not resist temptation and climbed up the tree and ate the apples. Question number 4 is, how was the bear punished when he attacked a beehive? Answer is, the bear was hit on the nose which he bled. He was put on chain for 2 days. Question number 5 is, why did the lady chain the bear on Sundays? Answer is, the lady used to go to a sister's house on Sundays. She chained the bear lest she would wander in the forest in her absence. She also feared that he would turn into a wild bear. Question number 6 is, the cook loved the bear like her own son. Justify. So the answer is, the cook had brought up the baby bear on a brittle male. The lady wanted to punish the bear by chaining him for 2 days. The cook told the lady that the bear had not gone anywhere. She saved her bear from the punishment. It shows that the cook loved the bear like her own son. Long answer type questions are, give the character sketch of the bear in the bear story. So the answer is, the baby bear was brought up on milk. He ate only vegetarian food. He never tasted meat. He liked apples and honey. He never attacked the animals. He entered the stables of mountain ponies in a friendly manner. So the dogs played with him and pulled his ears and tails. The children enjoyed a ride on his back. He was quite friendly with the children and other animals. He was a gentle animal. He was the favorite of both the lady and the cook. Question number 2 is, give the character sketch of the lady in the bear story. So the answer is, the lady is very kind. Once she finds the bear cub in the forest, she tames the baby bear. She brings him up like her own son. She feeds him on milk bottle. She gives him an apple to eat every day. She gives him vegetarian diet. Sometimes she punishes the bear for his bad behavior. She pets him before chaining. The lady is very bold. She crosses the forest alone fearlessly. She hits the wild bear hard when he chases her in the forest. She does not tolerate disobedience even on the part of her pet bear. She is fond of taming animals. So this is the bear story. Question answers. You are supposed to write these question answers in the English literature copy. So write them in your English literature copy and read the story once again in order to answer the questions in the exam. So this was about the today's class. Thank you students. I am closing this video now. Have a nice day.